Hey, this is Kit. We're still filming on location in Wisconsin. I'm joined here today with Lee Stedman, one of the main co-founders of the Gaia Coalition Network that's organizing this protest against the Foxconn construction. Lee, thank you so much for joining Heartlands Media.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So essentially, we've been asking this question to a lot of the organizers and people who are attending this event. What are the dangers and concerns about the Foxconn facility being built here in this state?
Right, well, see, the thing is about Foxconn, it's not just the factory itself, it's what the factory, or this whole deal itself produces. It opens the door for mass urbanization of southeast Wisconsin, which is mostly rural area. It opens the door for waived and softened regulations for both environmental aspects and economic aspects. So it's an economic threat, it's an environmental threat, it's a social threat, it's a political threat. There's no really one thing that overweighs the rest. It's just a conglomeration of all of them together that kind of makes the threat real.
So, of course, there's the economic impact. Let's talk about that. If this project flops, Wisconsin and Wisconsin taxpayers are left holding 40% of the state bonds. And, of course, there's been a huge incentives in regards for the facility being built here, but there's concern that Foxconn may not follow through with that. Is there anything else that needs to be added in regards to how this will economically impact the citizens of Wisconsin?
Right. Well, I mean, along with that incentive package, I mean, that's a lot of money that could be going to, like, public schools, to the UW system, to unions that really want the health care that they deserve and wages that they deserve. But even greater than that is this promise of 13,000 jobs is getting a lot of people's attention and making them want to support this factory. But at the same time, I've been at the Mount Pleasant Village Board meetings. They said that the majority of these jobs are going to be temporary contracting jobs for construction workers, which is great for them, but this is not the long-term kind of jobs that the Racine needs. It's not a high-income area. It doesn't have the best employment rate. It needs those jobs, and it seems like more of them are going to be coming as temporary ones or from Illinois, and now there's even rumors of them setting up dorms in Wisconsin for Chinese workers to come over. So it's going to be impactful, especially within the workforce, but all across the board, $3 billion tax incentive that could be going to so many public infrastructure plans rather than to a private industry.
We've talked to a few other people saying that the incentive package is going to be raised up, and there's also some additional costs that are being added onto. What's the talk about that in regards to Foxconn getting more money?
Right. It's kind of been back and forth. The problem with Foxconn is that there's such a lack of transparency on it that even with like the environmental stuff that they're going to be doing, or even what they're going to be producing at the factory, we don't exactly know. They specialize in LCD, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they're going to be making. So all the talk about whether or not they're going to be getting more funding or less funding, it's probably going to be more funding because there's a lot of transportation issues involved. They're going to be redoing the entire road structures down here. They're going to be turning Braun Road into, I believe, 8 lanes and KR into a 4-lane highway. I mean, they're ripping up the freeway right now, and now they're talking about, or there's been rumors at least so far, that the energy bill that this Foxconn factory is going to need is going to be coming out of taxpayers' pockets as well. So it's hard to tell exactly how much this factory is going to be getting since we don't really know the scale that it's going to be at yet, but there's definitely a lot of room for concern right now.
Now, in regards to the environment, there is concern that any industrial waste that comes from the facility will affect the Great Lakes, underground water reservations, as well as rivers and swamplands, or wetlands to be more precise. So what is the concern about the environmental impact?
Right. So the greatest concern so far has been with the Great Lakes. This factory is only like 2 miles away from Lake Michigan, and that pollution, I mean, that's so close. How are they going to regulate this when it's one of the largest electronic manufacturing corporations in the world that's going to be coming here with one of the largest, deals that Wisconsin has ever seen before? I mean, it goes back to the fact that we don't know what they're going to be making yet, so we can't tell what kind of heavy metals are going to be used, what kind of solvents are going to be used. They have a horrible history back in Taiwan of workers getting sick off of benzene poisoning and hexane poisoning. So if that's going to be done on a mass level and that's going to be entering our groundwater and being put back into Lake Michigan to some degree, I mean, there's a lot of room for concern there as well with what's going to happen to our groundwater. We don't necessarily know how much water is going to be used yet or what the tactics are going to be in order to make sure that the wastewater is resolved before it gets back into Lake Michigan. But again, because of the lack of transparency, it's just hard to say, but it poses a concern.
Now, a final question. Perhaps our viewers and subscribers want to learn more about your organization. Where can they find you guys online and on social media?
Yeah, we don't actually really have a working website right now. We've been trying to do things mostly offline because the purpose of Gaia Coalition is not to be another organization, but to be a living MOU for any organizers, organizations, or individuals that want to go and see a collective change in our state. But you can find us on Facebook. We have Gaia Coalition Network Facebook page, or you can link up with any of our other groups. There's a huge list posted of the ones that are helping co-sponsor this event, but we do have a lot of core ones that are on regardless too. So.
Thank you so much for joining Hard Lens Media. This is Kit. Peace, everyone.
You're watching Hard Lens Media.